Pictures of you, pictures of me, hung upon your wall for the world to see. Pictures of you, pictures of me, remind us all of what we could have been. Pictures of you, pictures of me, hung upon your...
Relive every moment true to life with True Capture technology, only from Canon.
Is Robyn, who is going to talk about why join a wholesaler. Is that right, Robyn?
Absolutely.
Okay, so first I'll have Laurie. You're going to say a few words. Speak up.
For those that don't know, Robyn has been in the travel industry for quite some time, actually 30 years experience. She's had senior roles in the travel industry, including online wholesale, inbound, MICE hotels, restaurants and attractions. Robyn has represented a high-profile travel industries, including APT Tours, so if you know them, Accor, the Astor Hotel Group, Captain Cruises, and more importantly for the past 8 years, she's actually worked with online space, so with the AOT Group, and has been involved with TravelMate, lastminute.com.au, all of those different websites. Having grown up in regional New South Wales, Robyn has a keen interest in regional tourism, and I thank her very much for taking up her break time, because she's just finished with the AOT. She's having a period of rest, and I've brought her along to Broken Hill. So thank you, Robyn.
Sorry, while I get set up. Well, good morning, everyone. Unfortunately, I missed Elvis. I had to go home early, so I'm hoping he does turn up today because I'd love to hear him. I hear he's fabulous. So what a great personality to have in your community. Fantastic. So I hope you all enjoyed last night, and I'm sorry I had to leave a little early. I wasn't jet lagged, it's not that far to come to Broken Hill, but just feeling a little bit jaded. Okay, so yesterday I had the opportunity to sit in on some of your afternoon presentations, and I've got to tell you, there's a lot of information out there. Their heads must be spinning. There's just so much to learn, so much to know in the travel industry. You know, it's hard to get everything right. It's hard to make sure that your business is on the right track and getting the right exposure. So maybe with my presentation, I can give you a few helpful hints, and maybe a wholesaler is the answer. So, let's get started. Now, I've been asked today to speak to you about tourism wholesaling and the benefits of being in a wholesale program. To do this, I'll need to focus on a few things. First of all, what is a wholesaler? What do they want? And more importantly, why do they want it? Having worked on both sides of the industry, I will also offer some advice on what you can do to make your relationship with a wholesaler work better for you, and to give you some options on how best to represent your destination and your product to the wholesalers. Wholesalers are experts in what they do, and perhaps the right people to help you and your business. So, what is a wholesaler? Can I just have a show of hands? Has anybody actually dealt with a domestic wholesaler? Okay, we've got a few out there. Internationally? Put your hand down, Phil. Okay, all right. Well, what is a wholesaler? I've chosen a description here that I picked up off the Travel Australia site, or the Tourism Australia site, but I'm going to add a little bit of my own definition to that as well. Wholesalers provide retailers with travel packages comprising of 2 or more products supplied by different operators. These packages are put together in brochures which are then distributed to networks of travel agents for display in their travel agencies. Of course, that's changed quite dramatically over the past few years, and now these packages are also loaded onto trade and consumer websites, and wholesalers don't just sell packages, they just about sell everything. They sell room only and individual tour options. If there's a commission on it, a wholesaler will sell it. They're in the business of sales. In short, wholesalers help create holiday experiences using your products. They're a one-stop shop for consumers, as they've already packaged the products to create that holiday experience. They also offer variety. That is a huge importance for the consumer. Okay, so what are the benefits of working with a wholesaler? In real estate, and I know I've got a few real estate people here in the room, it's all about location, location, location. In the travel industry and in the tourism side of things, it's about distribution, distribution, distribution. And that in turn leads to exposure, exposure, exposure. Getting your product seen by people, making sure it's visible, and in turn capitalising on that exposure through sales. Wholesalers have a well-established network to promote your product and your destination. They produce brochures which are distributed to the travel agency network. The wholesale program for those brochures operates from the 1st of April through to the 31st of March. But the brochures are actually produced in advance and are generally on the shelves by January. So in effect, if you're in a wholesale program, your product or destination has a shelf life of 14 months. Wholesalers also generally enjoy a preferred status with most of the retail chains like Harvey World, Flight Centre, Travel Scene. That ensures them good brochure placement and good support of their products. The wholesalers also have online sales representatives, and they have established relationships within the retail agencies, and they're constantly increasing those relationships and establishing more. They have on-road representation, and that in turn educates, trains and updates the retail agents on your product and your destination. Wholesalers organise for mills to ensure that agents are experienced on the destination and that they can pass those experiences on to their clients. They have a reservation team or reservations teams who are trained on your product and the region, and they're capable of answering just about any consumer query. The reservation team members are also encouraged to join for mills so that they too have that first-hand experience on your product. Knowledge is power. Most wholesalers have their own trade websites, which allows the retailers, via an access code, instant availability and instant confirmation of rates. They also promote your products on consumer sites, offering instant confirmation and additional exposure direct to the consumer. Wholesalers, they sell your product year-round. They're not just interested in periods of high demand or event periods like your upcoming, is it a race weekend over the, everyone's nodding. Apparently you've been booked out for ages for that, which is just fantastic. But they'll commit to you for the full year, but you also have to commit to them. They organise dedicated and targeted campaigns to audiences in conjunction with local, state and tourism bodies, as well as retail agency chains. Campaigns are not cheap. You would all know that, and I'm sure with all the new literature that you've got coming out from the presentations last night, you'll understand why, the cost involved in that. But campaigns aren't cheap. So mostly wholesalers will partner with agency chains and those tourism bodies to ensure that they have greater funding, but also a wider reach of exposure for your product. Wholesalers also include product in ad hoc marketing activities. This includes things like features or promotions on their websites, things like destinations of the month, deal of the day, hot deal, this deal, that deal. They'll put them up on the website, so there's opportunities there for you and your particular product and destination in those areas. They also have ad hoc media options as well. I just, in my time in the wholesaling side of things, there were so many times that the marketing department would come to me and say, I need a product for this, I need a product for that. So they'd been asked for a product to go into a special feature or a one-off publication. So there's other opportunities there. It doesn't, those don't go out to every single supplier, but they're there, and it's just another way that the wholesalers can expand the exposure of your product. Wholesalers are actually a network among themselves, and this allows for cross-promotional activities. Most wholesalers now have a very diverse range, and within their own networks they have umpteen million different departments. For example, at AOT, we not only have a domestic wholesale division. I say we not only have, I feel like I'm still there. I'm not representing AOT, but I still feel like part of the family. So they have a wholesale division, an inbound division, a cruise division, an online division, they've got a groups division, and just more recently, they created a domestic groups division. So, the demand is there, and there's all these different avenues for the wholesalers to use your product. Now, in the cross-promotional side of things, they use product that either they or someone in their departments or a different department area are using. So if you're not in their programs or you're not in their system, then you're not going to be considered. So it's very important to work with them, because they will work with people who are working with them first. Wholesalers are also investing in their technology to keep up with the technological advances and ensure that their sites are suitably functional and user-friendly. So, wholesalers, what do they want and why? Wholesalers can appear to be very demanding, and those of you that are already working with them, you may feel that way. But there are valid reasons for them insisting on certain requirements from suppliers. To be successful, wholesalers need a wide range of products and experiences. But they also require a commitment from suppliers to ensure they are able to sell these products and experiences confidently. Knowing they can close a sale immediately is the utmost importance. It's all about productivity. To produce well, you must have access to product. For this reason, wholesalers will insist on an allocation, on flexible release back dates, parity, and a commitment to supply package options and deals for their campaigns. Oops, we've gone too far. Can you go back one? Okay. Allocation. For wholesalers, allocation means instant confirmation. Wholesalers invest a lot of money in advertising, online marketing, media and campaign activities. Their only goal is sales. Sell, sell, sell. That's what they're there to do. The more they sell, the better it is for everyone. So to ensure a successful campaign or program, high sales are needed. And to be able to get high sales, they need to ensure that they can accommodate a client's request immediately, instantly, today, not tomorrow. This means that they will ask you for at least one room on allocation year-round. And for touring suppliers, that may mean that they want a free sell option for your tour. Why do they want it? If a client has to wait 24 hours for a confirmation, wholesalers chance losing the booking. It's as simple as that. Allocation gives them instant sales. It's not as scary as it sounds, and I've spoken to many people over the years that are a little bit nervous when it comes to allocation, but it really isn't as scary as it sounds. You can tailor that allocation to suit you. So, for example, and I'll speak specifically about hotels because it's a little bit easier to explain, but for example, if you offer a one-room allocation but get a group booking for your whole property, then you can go back to the wholesaler and say to them, I've got a whole property booking. I need my allocation back. In most cases, there won't be a problem. If they've already committed it, then yes, there may be a problem, and you may have to work through it. But the fact of the matter is that the wholesalers understand that you're in business too, and they want to work with you. So it's not all one way. It's not all the wholesalers requiring allocation, and you can never see that allocation again.
Question.
Oh, already?
Sorry, I just sort of thought of this.
That's okay. Go for it.
If the wholesaler has already committed or used that allocation, wouldn't you know about it? And therefore you'd say, okay, well, I've only, that room's already gone, so I can't.
You would if you'd already received the confirmation, but if in the space of that couple of hours or whatever that they'd just taken a booking or committed a booking or taken a deposit or something, you may not have the full confirmation. Yeah, there's a window there that they may, there may be something committed. But in most cases, yes, you would know about it because you'd already had the confirmation. Okay, so wholesalers also need to work with flexible release back dates. So what is a release back date? This is the date that your allocation can be released back into your inventory for direct sales. So release back dates, they're designed to help you, but they're also designed to help the wholesaler ensure that they have inventory for immediate sales. The industry norm for regional areas for a release back date is about 7 days. However, you can negotiate that. It really depends on how you manage your bookings and the type of product that you have. But wholesalers will generally agree to a 14-day release back, if needed. They won't always like it, but if they want your product badly enough in their program, then they will agree to it. And that's where you need to start negotiating and working with the wholesaler to work out what best fits you. A little flexibility goes a long way. So if you can, be flexible and perhaps offer, say, a shorter release back for your off-season, the business, the time that the business really needs the business, because the longer your allocation is there, the more chance you've got of a sale. And in your high season, maybe you stick to that 7 days or 14 days, depending on what you need. But wholesalers like that flexibility. In this day and age, particularly due to the impact of the internet and last-minute bookings, your release back date will have a huge effect on your productivity. As a wholesaler, the later the better. The longer they have your product listed for sale, the higher the chance of conversion. It's interesting, just a note on what's happening with release back dates in capital cities or major metropolitan areas. In Sydney at the moment, the release back date has shrunk to about 3 days, but in many cases it's 24 hours. Now I understand, obviously there's higher demand, there's higher activity in the cities, but it just shows you just how much those last minute bookings are starting to kick in. And obviously, the city properties have a lot more inventory to play with, but it's just, those shorter lead times and the last minute sales are really having an effect in the wholesaling arena as well, not just in the last minute online space. Okay, and the next one, rate parity. Whew, here's a can of worms. It's also a bit of a bugbear of mine. Rate parity is really important for a wholesaler. For a wholesaler to be competitive, they have to have the same rate or a better rate than their competitors. If they don't have the same rate or a better rate, there simply won't be sales generated, and including you in a campaign will be useless to them. It will be a waste of funds. And many wholesalers now are working on price guarantees to the consumers and to their retailers. So they will be far more diligent in checking your pricing of your packages and of your regular hotel or product rates. I could talk all day about rate parity, and I'm sure that many of you have many issues with it, but happy to have a chat after the presentation, or perhaps later on. I will be here all day, but it's a real can of worms, and it is often very difficult to manage. So if anybody's got any questions on that, gladly sit down and have a chat to them. Could be a long chat, might get a bit fiery. Okay, the other thing that wholesalers need are specials, packages and value adds. When a wholesaler puts a campaign in place, they're looking for a special deal or a value add to promote. For example, a stay pay deal, a breakfast, a tour inclusion, or in some cases a price break for a minimum stay. They're looking for the best deal to promote to ensure the success of the campaign. Sales, as I said before, won't be generated if a competitor has a better rate in the marketplace. You know yourselves, you all shop around. Most people look at about 4 different websites and will compare wholesalers' pricings before they make a decision. So it's very important that your product is out there, it's being represented properly, but that you have the specials in the marketplace, but there is parity there and everything else. Not all suppliers are in a position to offer a special, a package or a value add. If you can't, don't. Wholesalers will be okay with that. But I would suggest that if you can't do that, think a little outside the square. Get a few people together and package something up of your own so that you can promote that in one of those campaigns and get that exposure. Make it easy for the wholesalers. You give them a product, you give them the package, and then you've just got to convince them to get that into the program. I look at your faces out there and I know what you're all thinking. It's too hard. Allocations, release backs, commitment. It's not as hard as you think. And most wholesalers will be flexible. Working with a wholesaler, it's a two-way street. They need your product and you need business. So make it work for you. No reaction. Commission. It's a hot topic. The dreaded commission conversation. Ooh, everybody cringes. Well, contrary to popular belief, commission is not a dirty word. It's simply a part of doing business. Wholesale commission levels range from 20 to 25%, depending on the wholesaler. Commission levels are a direct result of the distribution chain. The wholesaler distributes to the retailer, who then on-sells to the client. The wholesaler, as a part of a standard distribution chain, would work on a 20% commission. They keep 10% for themselves and pass the other 10% on to the retailer. That's the standard distribution, but that's changed a lot over the years as well. And now some wholesalers ask for more than 20%. And the reason they do this is because they're passing more on to their retailers to ensure that their product and their brochures and their product and everything that's in their brochures has high exposure, and that the retailers are going to sell it well. The other advantage of that is of course that extra commission is an incentive for the retail agents to sell those products over anybody else. Why? Because they earn more money, more commission. I'm sure there's a lot of questions on commission as well, so I'll hold that over until the end. Another cost of doing business with a wholesaler is the participation fee. There is a participation fee, there's no way around it. Brochures are expensive to produce. So that's generally what the participation will be. It'll be a cost for advertising in the brochure. These fees, they vary from wholesaler to wholesaler, but they are generally set for the program year. But I am a big believer in, if you don't ask, you don't get. So if the cost of participating in a program is outside your budget, maybe just a little too high, negotiate. What's the worst they can do? Say no? I'm sure there's a way around it. I'm sure that, particularly for new areas like this where, that's not terribly well represented in the wholesale brochures, that they'd be open to a little bit of negotiation to get a new product in the brochures and start selling a new destination more effectively. I've had many conversations over the years with suppliers who think that by joining a wholesale program, they're going to be bombarded by a massive business at low rates due to commission levels. Yes, the commission is higher, but it is manageable. You work on the allocation you are comfortable with. When the allocation is gone, it's up to you if you top it up or not. You don't have to accept a massive business if it's not fitting in with your general business mix. You're in control, and you can increase the business or not to suit you. But remember, by participating in a program, your product will be visible for 14 months. Yeah, this is where I come out fighting. Wholesalers are not the enemy. I've added this one in purely because of my own experience. And don't shoot the messenger. What I say may offend. I don't mean it to be that way, but I'm just going to put it how it is. In the many years I've been involved in wholesaling, I've noticed a certain wariness of wholesalers, particularly in regional areas. Personally, I believe this stems from the commission levels and perhaps a misunderstanding of why those commission levels are in place and why they are so high. Wholesalers are simply not the enemy. If you work this side of the distribution channel effectively, you will see results and expand your market mix. There is no doubt everyone sitting in here, and actually if I had my own business as well, I would love to work on the 10% commission model. Wouldn't that be wonderful? Business would come straight through your door, 10%. Via your internet, 10%. No need for anything else. Reality is, it's not going to happen. Not right now. So you need to work with a number of avenues to ensure that you have a good business mix for the continued success of your business. There's a lot of competition out there, and so many things have an effect on sales. The tourism industry is battling a high Australian dollar, making it easier for Australians to go offshore, but even more difficult for internationals to come. and visit Australia, or even afford the trip. The weather. We are in the land of drought and flooding rain. Well, when I put this presentation together earlier in the week, I just didn't realise how much flooding rain we'd be in. But that's the nature of Australia, and it does have an effect on tourism. Your own competitive set. Everyone in this room is vying for possibly the same business. And here in outback New South Wales, you have the challenges of distance and the fact that you compete with every destination in Australia with outback or any reference to outback in its name. It's tough out there. Widen the net, test the waters and monitor the results. You don't have to work with every wholesaler. Choose one to suit you. Once the results are proven, you can decide if you want to expand that network or not. Next one. Okay. Working with a wholesaler, as I said before, it's a partnership. It's a two-way street. You're investing your marketing dollars, but they're investing theirs as well. So make it work. Make it work for you. Be proactive. Keep in contact with your contracting manager, or whoever the contact is at the particular wholesale chain. Make sure they're aware of any enhancements or upgrades to your product. Submit some low season specials. Have a look at your forward bookings. If they're not looking so great, submit another special to the wholesaler. But just be wary of time frames there, because wholesalers won't load something if they don't have enough time to sell it. Get involved in familiarisations. Now, I know you're already doing that, but it really is an important part of the business. Agents sell better if they have experienced the product and the destination firsthand. Don't be shy. Go into their office. Do a product presentation. If you're getting resistance, wholesalers, they're time poor. But if you're getting resistance of that, band together, grab a couple of you, go in and do a joint product presentation and sell the destination. In general, just keep them informed. Wholesalers need to work with a lot of product to have the variety that the consumer wants. Make sure your products and destination are front of mind. So I've slightly touched on this already, but join forces. Come out fighting. Have a go. I had a look at some of the current wholesale brochures in the marketplace, and I have to say Outback New South Wales is not that well represented. And even in the online space, I don't think you're that well represented. I'm not sure the reasons for that, but we all know tourism has a flow-on effect. It is great for any economy. Once tourists are here, they will spend, and that benefits the community. If it all seems too hard and costly, join forces to share the cost of promoting your destination and products. As a contracting manager, it was so rare. I think it probably happened to me maybe twice, where a product or a region would come in and suggest something to me. It was mostly me saying, have you thought about this? Have you thought about that? Can you get these products together? Why not turn it around? Select a wholesaler you want to work with and put a proposal to them. Join forces with your local council, tourist authorities, associations and any other products. Buy a page in their brochures and promote several products and the region as a destination. Promote them all in one go. Put together a package. You know what best sells in your region. Package them up. Make it easy for the wholesalers to load it in their system and sell it. In promoting products both domestically and internationally, I have found it's essential to sell the destination first, then your product and the experiences. You have the knowledge. You have the products. And from what I've seen in the last day or so, you have the passion. Band together, get out there and sell your destination to the wholesale network and make it work for you. That's pretty much it for me, and I'm going to be around today, so if you do have some questions, that's great, or we may have time now. I'll check with Laurie in a minute. But I will say one last thing before I finish. If you are going to work with a wholesaler, make a commitment of 2 years. Now that may seem a long time to you, but trust me, it will bring benefit in the end. Agents need to learn about new products, and they need to understand how to sell them. Committing to 2 years gives the continuity required for product knowledge and ample time for you to qualify results and justify the cost. Wholesalers start contracting for the 2013-2014 program from June, so be ready. And don't forget, the brochures have a shelf life of 14 months. On top of that, you will get incremental business. Sales from people who go into an agency, pick up a brochure, but then come to you direct. It's hard to qualify, but I know it happens because I've had people tell me. So that's pretty much it for me. Happy to take questions, but thank you. Have we got time for questions?
Yes, you have.
Thank you.
Anybody got any questions for Robyn?
Your days.
Yes, go. And then,
My question is quite simple, really. If the community bands together, and this is the message that I'm getting out of this particular event, unite, and in unity is strength, and that's the backbone of Broken Hill anyway. But you really need all the individual providers to come to terms with the fact that you need to add 20 to 25% onto your pricing in the first place, so you've got the room to actually distribute that through the wholesaler, and they come back through and distribute that to the retailer. So fundamentally, we need to jack the prices up by 25% right across the board in Broken Hill, and then we can afford to deal properly with the wholesalers.
Yeah, it's an absolute fact. I mean, pricing...
You need to unite to do that, that's the issue.
Well, you need to unite to do that, but also in your general pricing structure, and I think that perhaps that's something that's probably a whole other session, but your general pricing structure should be designed to reflect that. Now, you're moving into a market area that you probably haven't dealt that much in before, so yes, it would mean a complete restructure of your pricing to be able to cover that. How you get around that, I'm not quite sure. We'd have to sit down and have a chat. But, you know, that's what you need to do to be in that marketplace. There's no way around it. In most cases, certainly for a new destination, and I say a new destination, I know that Outback New South Wales is not a new destination, but it's not well represented in the wholesale area at the moment. So it's really considered a new destination. The reason that we keep pushing the need to package and sell it as a destination is to create awareness for that. So, you know, as a new destination, maybe you all need to sit down and look at your pricing, look at products that can and can't work with the wholesale area. I'm not saying that every single person in this room and every product in the Outback region can work through the wholesale network. It may not be practical for some, but band together with those that can, but make sure that pricing structure is right, because it's not a matter of just jacking your prices up 25%. It's really considering about the price that you need and working back from that to make sure that the sell price is correct to cover everything else.
I just wondered how much of a decline there's been in the wholesale travel sector, you know, when you look at the decline in travel agents because people are managing their own travel online these days. Has that had a sort of snowball effect on the viability of wholesalers and the sort of, I suppose, how necessary they are to the sort of travel industry now that people have got online facility with their own travel and research their own travel?
Yeah, valid question. As I don't work for a wholesaler, I can't offer any specific, at this moment, any specific figures, but I can tell you, you know, the industry, well, not through my industry knowledge, there's probably been a 20% decline in the wholesale arena at the moment, but I don't believe that it's mostly to do with online sales. I think it has a lot to do with economic environment and, you know, things like the high Australian dollar, sorry, did you want to?
No.
Oh, the high Australian dollar and a few other things that, you know, it's had quite an impact. I mean, if you look at Queensland last year, which is, you know, from an AOT point of view, Sun Lover Holidays is probably the biggest part of our domestic wholesale, of their domestic wholesale program. They had a lot of problems last year, like you're having now. Cyclones, floods, high mortgage rates or mortgage rates going up. So there's a lot of other factors that affect everything to do with that. Yes, the online side has had an impact. Exactly how much that percentage is, I probably couldn't guess. But the wholesalers are also online and fighting back. And I have to say, I have a lot of friends who still go through wholesale travel agents for certain things. They'll mostly do their research online first, but they go to the wholesalers because those packages have the good deals. So I think there's still a place there. I think heading towards the future, and again, this is just my opinion, but heading towards the future, wholesalers will have to diversify more and have a good look at where their business is coming from. And they're all doing that. They're all doing that, upgrading their technology so that they're, fighting for that online space as well. But I think there'll always be a need for them. How it's going to change, I don't know. For your area, you haven't really used it that much yet, from what I'm seeing. So, maybe it's still viable to get the exposure that you need out there now.
I'm down Mildura way, so just across the border there, but we basically, one of our biggest issues is in the hotel industry is sandwich boards. And I think...
I've still got them.
And that's not a good thing for you guys, and it's not a good thing for business for anyone.
No, absolutely.
I've watched over here, but I've also seen it 20 years ago in the UK where heavy discounting at last minutes is not always, it actually changes the whole scope of your business because everyone hangs on expecting a good deal. And I saw it with some very big companies in the UK and they did that. And they were bringing their brochures out. One year they did 10% discount, they got a bit more business as the last minute bookings. Then they did it a year later, and the company I worked for, we sat there and listened to a meeting in January after the big push for package holidays. And no one bought these company's products because that one year was 10, next year was 15. They thought, well, what's going to happen this year? So they ended up with planes, with accommodation all over Europe, sitting there because people were waiting. So no one can plan ahead by doing that sort of thing. It doesn't work. It's false economy. I don't know. It's the same in Sydney and places like that when you go down to the waterfront and you go to book a day trip. And you guys are selling one option, and then the companies are trying to get last minute bookings and they're half price.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's not a new problem. I mean, when you look at it, we're training the consumer to wait till the last minute. We're training the consumer to wait until they can get that very, very best deal. But it doesn't always work for them either. But that's why packaging, I think, is better. If they can get a good deal through a package, they'll go for it.
Okay, we've got John first, and then...
Yeah.
John, you're not allowed to ask a question.
I am.
Yeah.
I am.
Is everybody happy that John asked a question?
It's going to be an awkward question. No.
I say no. I say no. I know he's going to be difficult.
Yeah, no. Do I have a reputation for being difficult?
Yes. Absolutely.
Thanks for that, John.
Yeah. Me. Look at me.
Sorry, next question.
You talked about participation fees. Okay, for a lot of SMEs, that's quite a critical issue because they've got to put a lot of cash up front. First question is the levels of those participation fees. You talked about commission levels at 20 to 25%. Qantas Holidays wants 30%, pretty well across the board now. Okay. Yeah. And then you talked about guaranteed payments, which is great because it is a guaranteed payment in a sense, okay? But we've also seen companies go bust and people lose a lot of money. But I know of a wholesaler that pays after 120 days. That's after the guest has stayed. So in fact, whilst there's a guaranteed payment, it causes a cash flow problem for the property. So just those three elements, if you could comment on those, that'd be great. Thank you. And take your time.
What was the first
Participation fees.
Participation fees.
John, that's off the record. Let's turn that off.
No.
Your question is not being answered. Okay, look, participation fees, they do vary. Again, I don't work for a wholesaler at the moment, so why not negotiate?
How much?
Well, on average, I mean, in the AOT program, for the New South Wales holidays, I think it was $975.
Okay.
Now, that's
not
a
bad.
huge fee. It's exposure for an advertisement for up to 14 months. But you know something, if you, like I said before, if you can band together and get a destination together and have a page, negotiate on a page. I think a page was about $2,500 or something. But you want to sell your destination, and they want more things to sell. So I don't think that there's anything wrong. I'll probably be battered by all of the wholesalers when I get back to Sydney. But I don't see there any reason why you can't negotiate. Now the next question.
Commission?
See, I was trying to avoid commission. I thought I covered it quite well. Look, I think the problem with commissions, well, not the problem with them, but it's really an individual property and destination issue. You need to work out what you are prepared to pay If a wholesaler is asking for 25 or 30%, go into them and say, this is the best we can offer, but this is what we want to do. And see if they'll negotiate in that. Again, they want more product to sell, they want to sell more destinations. If you don't ask, you don't get. So, you know, I think there might be a little bit of movement there, but in general, they are set commission levels. They're 25%, and well, you're telling me 30. I've not worked for that one.
No, I'm sure you haven't.
Okay, we'll just move along.
No, the payment periods, that was the final question.
Some will pay late, we all do sometimes.
Okay, the payment periods, it's a little difficult for me to answer that because, you know, every single wholesaler has their own accounting system and things like that. All I would say is be diligent. It's up to you, you know, make sure that you chase those payments. If they haven't arrived on a certain stage, then just keep chasing them down. The more you batter them, the quicker they'll pay, I would say.
But the norm is, what, 30 days after the guest stays?
Generally, yeah. 30 to 60 days after the guest stays, yes.
30 to 60, okay.
Yeah. It is a long time.
I have a couple comments. We've just negotiated, and what you were saying, we were told to go into a wholesale product that our cost would be $2,500. We got that negotiated down to $500.
Woo! You did well.
I know.
I want you on my side.
Thank you. The other thing I want to say is that last year we booked in Mildura accommodation. In fact, it was the last time we came here to Broken Hill. And I had some surgery right before, and I was not real well. It was I wasn't prepared for the surgery, so it wasn't like I knew that that was going to happen. The place that we booked in was so nasty to us because we had gotten a discount price, and they made sure that we were on the second floor, and there's no lift, and that we got to carry all of our stuff up, and the attitude was just disgraceful. And so I would say if you're going to go into a wholesale package, for God's sakes, you know, don't let this negative attitude go to your customer. Because I will tell you, I will never go back to that place. And it makes me really dubious about using a wholesale place if that's the result I'm going to get.
Right. It's not just wholesalers with that side of things. I've had, you know, from my experience with the online division of Need It Now and TravelMate, we've had customers come back to us and say that they got put in a room out the back with no window because it was an internet sale. Now that comes back to your suppliers as well. So, you know, if you're going to discount, it's still the room in your hotel. Those people still, you know, deserve and expect the same experience as everybody else. You discount, or anybody discounts, or you go into a package to get business, make sure you look after that business, because it's no use having people walk through the door only to walk away and slander you.
Okay, we're going to cut it short there.